that, I mean, you're ahead of the curve here in terms of this study. What was it about these short term things that you were videos that made you think there's something problematic?
Well, I just realized how it took me out of fight or flight, kind of being, because you're when you're scrolling and you get stuck in that scroll, you're just waiting for the next dopamine hit, for the next video. And I actually spoke with a licensed psychologist, Magenta Silberman, with Huntsman Mental Health Institute. She talked a little bit more about how it impacts our attention spans.
Right, it's a very distracting opportunity for our brain. So I want us to think about, we have our executive functioning skills. It's right in the front of our brain. I want you to think of that as like the executive of your brain, sort of delegating and telling the rest of your brain what to do. And social media is going to really tax that part of our brain. We're going to have to switch between tasks. Either we're looking at different profiles, or suddenly there's a different link and we're going down the rabbit hole of different topics. And that is really taxing to our executive there. We have to regulate our emotions, because as I'm sure you've probably experienced, when you're scrolling through, you might feel jealous, sad, angry. All of those are taxing for our brain as well. And we have to stop ourselves, which is also a really hard task for that executive in our brain. For anyone who's been on TikTok, there's really no end. So you have to will that into fruition. So there's a lot of impact on our attention in general for social media.
So what do you do now? I mean, are you just off it now altogether?
No, I've let myself back on, but I will say that I have to do check-ins, right? I found myself on TikTok. TikTok is one of the biggest problems. It does have no end. You can get sucked on there and you are stuck, and you are literally, like, the brain rot is real. And the problem with it is you'll find an interesting topic, a video and you can have longer videos on TikTok, and you don't even realize 2 hours has passed that you've wasted. But it's just the switching between topics that I find so detrimental, because there's interesting stuff on TikTok, which is the conflict. Because I find things that I'm interested in, but it's just you watch one video and then there's another topic, and your brain is just in this constant switch. And so it causes anxiety and frustration. You just, as she explained, all these different emotions. And some of the content isn't that valuable either. I think you mentioned that in the last segment, that you are just kind of sitting there. And I just think that the critical thinking is gone. I actually saw, ironically, on TikTok last night, I saw someone like questioning how a college student could be taking notes by hand on paper, because she was like, how is her attention span allowing that? And I was like, oh no, this is a problem. And I actually do have a big concern for the younger generation, because I grew up without social media, and it kind of came into my life like in high school. So it's kind of been a weird relationship for me. But I do have a big concern for people who are, younger now, because I just am very worried about their brains, and older adults' brains who are just on social media all the time.
I think it's interesting. I do think that there are positive benefits to social media. There's a new Pew Research study that just came out a couple of days ago talking about how many people are on social media. And I saw an article last week talking about sometimes the benefits for older people. And by old, they defined anybody over 50, but older people, that it can be. But look, we have a number of texters. One person said, I haven't gotten rid of my social media, but I purged my following and followers list to just be family and close friends.
That's beneficial.
So yeah, so they said it's helpful for mental health, fewer comparisons. Another one said, my family went on a 2-week screen fast with my 3 kids, 10, 8, and 4. It was so tough at first because we found that we filled downtime with the screens. But after the first week, everybody started using their imaginations and playing together again. Now we only do screens on Sundays and as a family. They hate it sometimes, but we feel strongly that moderation through the school week is good for their health. Yeah. And then another one who says, I haven't noticed any clearer concentration after social media fasts. I have noticed, though, that I don't feel withdrawn after a week or so without social media. So I realize that social media use accomplishes nothing for me unless I go in for a specific purpose, which is what you were saying.
I agree with that. And I think we'll play one other soundbite in just a second. But using it more intentionally, and one other thing, I was just going back to that previous texter, it's like I forgot that we could go outside and talk to people face to face. Like that's just one thing that I think my generation specifically struggles with. And so that in-person connection is really what I prioritize. And I did actually realize that I didn't talk to a lot of people outside of the digital world. But the biggest takeaway I got from my conversation and just my own experience was using social media more intentionally and with a purpose. And so we can play that second soundbite there.
If we're using social media in an intentional way and in a way that's thoughtful of how it incorporates into the rest of our lives, right, then we're not going to see the same impact negatively on our mental health. It's when we're not engaging intentionally, when we're doing it mindlessly, we're avoiding things, or we're not engaging in our offline life in the way that we want to, that's when it becomes more concerning, more detrimental.
Was it difficult, Caitlin, to just cold turkey get off this? Not that it's an addiction, but you're used to something.
It is an addiction.
It's something 100%. You've been right.
But yes, it was difficult. After like 3 days, I was fine. So you think it's hard, and then you kind of start getting like, you literally have like the urge to grab your phone and check it, and you're like, oh, I guess I'll check my email. Done with that. But after a few days, you just realize you don't need it. And I am like a big advocate. This is me telling myself, like, I think over this next week, I'll probably delete all of the apps off of my phone. So I'm not just spending my Thanksgiving holiday just doom scrolling, and actually just being present and like reading books and doing all of that. But I don't think that we all need social media on our phone. I think that you can access it on a computer and be just fine. That's just my take.
Yeah, it is interesting. And I think sometimes we mistake online connections with the true connections that you're talking about, but also it can be a way to stay in touch with family and friends, right? I mean, that is one way that people like put out notices for wedding invitations, but if the algorithm doesn't feed it to you, then you don't even know.
That is true. And I do think that there's just that you have to find that balance, so it's not taking over your life, but you're still just using it as a tool to connect. And I think that everyone may have a different approach to that, but for me, I think I don't need to be on it as much.
We have one texter. We have several others, but one says, I gave up social media 2 years ago completely. I've never regretted it. I feel better, have more energy, a better outlook, and life is better in general.
Kudos to you.
So
yeah, and I'm
on it all the time.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm sort of getting onto it more and more, but maybe I'm going in the wrong direction.
No, there's a benefit. There's pros and cons. It's just don't let it take over your life, and that's why I have the concern for the younger generation, because I see that happening right now. So just be mindful and try not to rot as much as you do, because we all like rot days. I know it.
Good words of advice.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
It's 9:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Adam Small with a look at our top stories this half hour. We're learning more about the man accused of taking a 13-year-old girl from Ogden and triggering an Amber Alert. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff has the latest.
Christopher Wiggins is suspected of taking the teen from her Ogden home at about 3 o'clock Wednesday morning. Her family reportedly thought he had left early for work, but later learned the girl was also missing. Investigators say they pinged her phone and it was in Rock Springs, Wyoming. Police say after the Amber Alert was issued, Wiggins and the teen were located in a town near Fort Collins, Colorado. The girl's mother says she discovered an explicit image from Wiggins on the girl's phone. The teen reportedly told her parents that she and Wiggins had been intimate. In 2011, Wiggins was convicted on 2 counts of attempted unlawful sexual activity with a minor. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
And our top national story this hour from ABC News. It is Black Friday, and there are still millions of Americans looking for good deals.
Crowds might be a thing of the past, but it's still the biggest shopping day of the year. But on this Black Friday, shoppers may not spend as much.
We have to take a cut in when it comes to the luxury things, but the necessities definitely come first.
And if you decide to buy but can't pay right now, retailers are hyping buy now, pay later.
ABC's Andrea Fujii says inflation, the government shutdown, and weak jobs numbers are all impacting shoppers this holiday. Your money at this moment, Dow currently up 277 points. That's a little over 0.5%. The S&P 500 currently up 24 points. NASDAQ up 74 points. Coming up, a winter storm's finally on its way. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:33.
At Bank of America, we asked our people, how do you take ownership of your career?
I'm able to grow my way by putting the priorities that I have for my career first.
I thrive on being a leader who's behind the team, not in front of the team.
Every few years, I'm being re-energized because I get to do something different and learn something new.
See how our teammates are growing in their careers at bankofamerica.com/great place to work. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Vanity Fair calls BritBox a delicious streamer. Collider says everyone should be watching. Catch Britain's next best series with BritBox. Stream acclaimed new originals like Code of Silence.
You read lips, right?
And Linley, based on the best-selling mystery series.
J.I. Linley, take it from here.
And don't miss the new season of Karen Piri, coming this October.
You don't look like police.
I'll take that as a compliment.
See it differently when you stream the best of British TV with BritBox. Watch with a free trial today.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now, the company's changed. Or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So, what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan today. 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. See website for details.
Traffic and weather together is brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Aubrey Wuthrich.
Well, right now, if you're out and about, things are looking great for drivers on I-15 in Davis County, Utah County, and Salt Lake County. You have about a 30-minute drive from Ogden into downtown right now. I-15s, 215s east of West Side Belt, both moving at great speeds, no delays there. Coming out of Tooele County on SR 36 through Lake Point and then merging onto the 201 freeway or I-80 there, both of those are looking great as well. Santa's at Jordan Landy Shopping Center. Visit him on weekends and every day Christmas week from 10 to 6 p.m. Digital photos are just $25. Reserve your spot at jordanlanding.com and make the season merry and bright. I'm Aubrey Wuthrich in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather getting up to a high of 53 degrees today, then dropping all the way down to the low 40s starting tomorrow ahead of a storm that's expected to come through on Sunday. Looks like that could bring snow to the higher elevations, then things clear out on Monday with a high of 40 degrees. Right now, just 37 degrees, mostly cloudy skies in downtown Salt Lake City. I'm Adam Small from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
You're listening to a previously recorded program on KSL News Radio. The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We've been talking about this morning about some new findings from the American Psychological Association that have tied short-term video content from apps such as TikTok and Instagram's Reels to what researchers have called brain rot. I wish they had a better name for that.
Well, it's descriptive, right? And
it is.
We talked about this study that was published that has, it's a meta-analysis. So it was looking at 71 different studies, almost 100,000 individuals. And what they found was that there are some real impacts. So we have with us Dr. Matthew Checketts. He's a licensed clinical social worker at the University of Utah Huntsman Mental Health Institute Neurobehavior Home Program. So, Dr. Checketts, thanks for joining us.
You bet. Glad to be here.
Can you tell us what is your first reaction to hearing about this meta-analysis that finds that short-term video can cause brain rot or basically have a big impact on our brain health?
Well, the first thing that I thought was it wasn't actually that surprising when we sort of think about times where we would maybe read books, but now really we're focused a lot on just video content. And it also made me think a lot about just things like executive functions or the ability to be kind of mentally flexible or hold back some of our responses. It was kind of my first thought.
Dr. Checketts, what do you think it is about these short form videos, these 15, 30, 60-second videos that make this more prevalent?
Well, I think that we have a tendency to just associate visually. So I think that we're constantly getting kind of new dopamine hits because we're seeing new content, opposed to having to listen for maybe long form information. I also think, though, that it plays to a lot of our cognitive biases. We have a tendency to really appreciate kind of our own opinions. And so, we have confirmation biases, or we learn visually, and so we see something and we agree with it because, again, it kind of plays to what that fundamental bias is.
So I know that this new study shows, this combination, right, shows increased anxiety, loneliness, poorer sleep among heavy users. Are there symptoms that you see with your clients who struggle with social media use?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In fact, many of the people that I work with are neurodivergent, so they're going to struggle a little bit with socializing anyway. And many times what benefits them is social interaction. Commonly, though, they're defaulting to just looking at their phones and really not practicing communication skills or being out in the community. So I think that that's particularly problematic for everyone, but definitely for the folks that I work with. And so if we think about the term neuroplasticity, we train our brain, and if we train our brain just to be online as opposed to train our brain to navigate new situations or social conversation, then we kind of find ourselves either learning and adapting through that training or simply becoming kind of consumed with just an automatic thought, which is this is what we see and this is what we say.
And Doctor, what can be the long-term consequences of this continued barrage of looking at these social media sites and just almost being obsessed with them?
Well, I think that you can find inhibition control is reduced, so we tend to be more reactive. Again, cognitive flexibility, so thinking about new ideas or metacognition, thinking about our thinking, tends to be a little bit reduced because we're not thinking, we're just reacting. And I just think fundamentally that we're just exposed to fewer ideas, and so our overall intelligence and broad knowledge tends to be a little bit based in an echo chamber instead of looking at all sorts of new information. So we just tend to know less.
So can you give our listeners and me as well some tips for how to both red flags for what to look at with our kids, but how to have better control over these platforms?
Yeah, I think one of the things that you can start with is just consolidate how many platforms you have on your phone. A lot of times I'll notice people that they have every social media site and they're posting across all social media sites, which realistically isn't necessary. Oftentimes people are maybe interacting on one more than the other. They may have push notifications turned on, and so there's a barrage of information that's kind of coming to them, which isn't particularly helpful or even necessary. So I think that there are some of those type of things that you can do that probably are helpful.
Dr. Checketts, this might be a little bit out of your wheelhouse, but do you suppose that there is a time and place for regulation and something that our legislature can do to try to limit what our young people are seeing and experiencing with some of these platforms?
Well, yeah, I think so. I mean, if we're looking at a platform that's intentionally stoking division, if their algorithm is built to that particular format, I think that there's probably a public voice that needs to be heard within that context because, we have to look at things socially. Certainly we should have the ability to engage in free speech and dialogue. Also, though, if those companies are forcing information and collating that information in a format that's intentionally harmful, that's not great. I think if you were to, again, look back at written media, say, for example, the newspapers, there was an intention of, looking at a pro and a con or trying to publish sort of both sides of an argument. Those things are useful because it forces us to consider all sides. And I think that's good for society.
I'm wondering what your advice is to parents who feel like they do have children who maybe are neurodivergent, as you mentioned, and they find real comfort in this scrolling, but it's also maybe not that healthy. How do you get them to integrate better socially and not just disappear into these apps?
Well, I work a lot with those individuals, and while I actually believe that it's quite helpful in many ways to engage in a small amount of scrolling, but also have sort of a diversity activity and break up that scrolling. So, for example, there are many times where someone's overstimulated or they're frustrated, and, they may gain a benefit from just being involved in something visually. They also, though, have to practice and sort of, again, train their brain to set that phone down and move around, do something different, engage in sort of a broader collection of activities. In psychology, we call that behavioral activation because we're encouraging people to get up and move and go. And so I think really it's about the amount of time that you're spending engaged in those activities and whether or not you're doing other things.
Do you suppose that these findings from the American Psychological Association will have any effect on these platforms themselves, TikTok and Instagram? Maybe them realize you don't want to be associated with brain rot in your program. Do you suppose that any of these platforms will say, hey, we've taken these seriously and here's what we're going to do?
Well, we can hope so. I think that when you look at those platforms, I would suppose that there's a benefit for offering diverse content. I noticed the other day on YouTube that they were offering a teen account, and I thought that was a good sign. It seems to suggest that they're taking that quite seriously and, possibly promoting something a little different.
Thank you so much for joining us. We've been speaking with Dr. Matthew Checketts. He's a licensed clinical social worker at the University of Utah, Huntsman Mental Health Institute's Neurobehavior Home Program.
And it's good to get it's good to get that perspective and understand, from a clinician's point of view, the harm that this has caused.
Exactly. And I was struck by his comment that there can be good uses, even for kids who may struggle socially anyway, that there can be good uses of social media. That's one thing that I don't know that people necessarily are calling for a total ban on these. But look, your last question about will the social media companies do something about it? Not if it's making them money, they won't.
Yeah, maybe not. But Dr. Checketts did also talk about the pushback that we'll get, which is, hey, it's the First Amendment, it's speech, it's content, it's that type of thing. But when it comes to harming listeners or harming our young people, maybe it's time that we jump in and either, if the platforms themselves don't do it, maybe our regulators will.
Yeah, I don't know. On some certain types of content, I just don't know on the brain rot stuff because most of it is lower quality content anyway.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. You'll find exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 50% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. Shop Jewelry Television's Black Friday event and get 20% off your purchase of $99 or more. That's huge. And because JTV has gifts for men and women, like designer fragrances, handbags, sunglasses, and of course, amazing deals on gorgeous jewelry in thousands of styles, you can knock out your list just like that. Boom! Don't miss your chance to get 20% off your purchase of $99 or more during JTV's Black Friday event.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
Most folks wait till January to say, I should probably fix this or do something about how you feel. But you know what? You're going to go into 2026 with the resolution already done because soda helps you lose the weight now, so your New Year's all celebration.
You and I both started our soda weight loss journey in October and November, right? And I loved going into holiday parties knowing I had a plan. It wasn't just, I'm going to try not to. It was, this is my plan, because I've spoken with a nutritionist and I get a jump start on that, first of the year goal by beginning soda weight loss right now.
Yeah, there's no guesswork. You're supported every step of the way, and you need that. And right now, there's an amazing offer from Soda for you and your partner. You join, and your partner joins for free.
So why gain 20 pounds just to lose it in the new year? Go to Soda Weight Loss today and begin today.
That's sodaweightloss.com, SOTA weightloss.com, because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
You're listening to a previously recorded program on KSL News Radio. The new Inside Sources.
Well, if you feel like crime is becoming less of a problem, you may be right. And new statistics from the FBI and other authorities show that crime is actually dropping. In fact, we're looking at a study done by the Gallup poll that showed that even Americans are now believing that crime is not as serious as they had in the past.
And I think that's the key issue, right, is that the crime has been dropping, but public opinion thought it was going up. Isn't that right? Jay Evenson, who joins us today.
Yes, that's exactly right. And this is why this poll caught my eye and the eye of the editorial board, is because crime has kind of been on the way down since the 90s. I mean, we've had some spikes since then, and during the pandemic, we had a big spike. But when you ask people whether crime is up or down, you generally get told that it's up. People's perception is that it's up. And we've been weaned on that for many, many years. And because it was true when I was growing up that crime always was getting worse. And then politicians always try to reinforce that when they're running for office. You know, what's the number one promise? I'm going to make
clean up the streets.
Safe. Yeah, exactly. Yep. And the media bears some responsibility, too, because we tend to emphasize stories about crime. And so it makes you feel like crime is happening. But this poll shows only 49% of people feel like crime is on the way up and is a growing problem. And so that's the first time in a long time that less than 50% of people have felt that way. And the truth is, crime is down. It's down significantly. I quote some statistics here that in 24, this according to the FBI, murder and negligent manslaughter fell by 14.9% over year. Rapes are down 5.2%, aggravated assault down 3%, and robbery down 8.9%. So things are getting better.
Yeah, especially as it relates to violent crimes, which are what you just described, Jay, that we have seen in our bigger cities that crime has gone down. What you just articulated, I think you maybe answered my question, but it seems like politicians are always saying, "Hey, we've got a crime problem." Even our own administration, we're bringing the National Guard into some of these cities because it's gotten out of hand. It does seem like it's a political issue at times, more than a public safety issue.
When you look at polls down through the years, the party that is in power tends to say that crime is getting better. And the party that's out of power says it's getting worse. That's what makes this year kind of an anomaly, because a lot of Republicans feel like it's getting worse, but it's the Democrats who are out of power who feel like it's getting better. And so it's kind of, things are a little bit topsy-turvy. Of course, we have the president sending troops into many of our major cities and trying to use the excuse that they're awash in crime. The statistics just don't bear that out. Now, I'm not trying to minimize the fact that we still have a lot of crime in this country. In fact, I brought a few statistics. In the last year, in 24, there were still 16,935 murders in the country. Now, the fact that that was 15% less than the year before doesn't help you much if you knew one of those 16,000 people. But we often talk about mass shootings. We hear a lot about those. That's about 1% or 2% of the total murders in the country. And we have about 340 million people. Now, if you look at the number of people who died from influenza last year, that was about 28,000. How many people died in fatal car accidents? Just under 40,000. So your chances of being murdered in this country are quite low compared to other ways that you can die.
Well, that's
including the flu, right? Yeah.
It's dangerous to live.
It is. We're talking with Jay Evenson, opinion editor of the Deseret News. So I'm wondering on this, on these crime stats, are we, is there something that has really caused this shift for crime to drop? Is it better policing? Is it better laws? Is it just people have slowed down on the crimes that we commit in general?
Well, one factor is that we're becoming older as a nation, and crime,
you can't run away.
Crime tends to be a young person's game, and
you're exactly right. Yep.
Yeah. So the older we are, the less inclined we are to commit crimes. The other interesting factor is that there are cameras everywhere now, and surveillance cameras. Everyone has a Ring camera or a doorbell camera. And so it makes it harder to get away with something like robbery or premeditated types of crimes. So those are two things that are being floated out there. Really, though, nobody seems to have a firm grasp on why it's getting better.
I mean, to me, working in the criminal justice system, Jay, I just think we're doing a better job at dealing with crime. I think our law enforcement, and I'm digressing a little bit here, is better trained. Like you said, a crime scene investigation, cameras, that type of thing is better done. But I also think, having been a lawyer in the criminal justice system for 43 years, every year the legislature is going to get tougher on crime. Every time there's a new DA or an attorney general or even a Department of Justice AG nationwide, boy, we're going to crack down on crime. So they tend to. We've criminalized things that weren't a crime when I started practicing law to try to crack down on crime, which would make you almost think there'd be a spike in crime because there's more definitions of crime. But in fact, I think we've done a good job, and I know there's a question in here somewhere, Jay. I think we're doing a good job nationally of recognizing maybe that just throwing people in jail or in prison for 5 or 10 years isn't going to solve crime, and maybe we're doing more to help with the rehabilitative components of that.
Yeah, and there was a lot of criticism about 20 or so years ago that we are throwing too many people in crime. You'll remember we had the three strikes laws. Mm-hmm. So people for relatively petty crimes were being thrown away forever, supposedly.
Right.
So that's the other component to it is our real rehabilitation and our incarceration rates and that type of thing. You're never going to get politicians, though, to stop harping on crime because it's something visceral and easy and simple to understand for the voter, whether it's true or not. So there are only so many issues, that you can hit as a politician that everyone resonates with. And even the statistics show one thing, people are always going to say, well, I know about so-and-so who was mugged or robbed, and so it's always kind of in the back of the mind that there is crime.
I have two quick questions because we're almost out of time. But one is, do you think that there's any impact on our American love for true crime, on how much we perceive crime is happening? And then I have a texter who says, this report doesn't seem to consider cybercrime, government corruption, road rage, etc.
Yeah, to the second question, this report is kind of focused on the violent crimes and the person-on-person types of crimes. There are definitely problems with those other crimes that your texter mentioned. And then, we all have, not we all, but Americans in general have a love of true crime stories and that type of thing. I don't see that genre going away, and I think we're still going to be kind of obsessed with that.
But does it make it so that we think more crime is happening? That was the question there.
Probably so, yes.
Yeah.
I would think.
I watch a British show, Father Brown, and it's this little tiny English village, and there's a murder almost every week. It's like per capita, like the crime rate is like through the roof, right?
Really?
Which it wouldn't be realistic. So
yeah,
I do think, Jay, to sort of summarize a little bit about what your article is and what I've read here, we are doing a better job in this country and in this state and in this city at dealing with crime. And whatever you want to say, we've all had experiences where a friend or family member is a victim of crime, but it is better than it was, say, 10, 20, 30 years ago. It
is. And so, people talk about the good old days. Well, I guess these are kind of you never know you're living in the good old days until they're gone.
Right.
But that's true, yes.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us to talk about crime. Yay! No,
but it's a good news story.
No, it is. And one of the things that's interesting, Jay, is because I have talked to you and heard you say multiple times, look, the crime rate's dropping, but the public opinion doesn't reflect the reality of what we're seeing in crime statistics. So I appreciate you taking the time to come in and talk with us today about that.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good morning, 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Adam Small with a look at our top stories this hour. Black Friday has changed from what it used to be before COVID, but not as many people are crowding into the stores, and the lines are before opening aren't as long.
Grandkids' clothes, pajamas, Levi's socks, underwear.
That's Tina, who is waiting outside in the cold. That's at a local Walmart before it opened today.
I think we're all crazy, though.
The National Retail Federation predicts about 130 million people will be shopping for deals in stores today. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The U.S. and Russia are preparing for more high-stakes talks on the war in Ukraine.
In an interview published Thursday, Yermak ruling out conceding any Ukrainian territory in talks, and in a hardline speech, Vladimir Putin overnight ruling out a ceasefire unless Ukrainian forces withdraw, saying it's pointless signing anything with Zelensky because he lacks legitimacy. All of this, of course, leaves the chances of a rapid end to this war looking remote.
That's ABC's Ian Pannell reporting from eastern Ukraine. Your money at this moment, half day for the market, but right now it's doing really well. The Dow is currently up 294 points, up about a little over 0.6%. S&P 500 is currently up 27. The NASDAQ is up 87 points. Coming up, dry and warm, but a storm is finally on its way. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Well, the holidays are really here. Things are speeding up. I know exactly what we all need to do, and that's head into the Western Nut Company. I'm here with Sarah, and you can take care of it all.
We love the holidays, and we try to make it seamless for our customers to enjoy our gift baskets and our fudge and our brittle and all the things that make it the holidays.
Western Nut is perfect for corporate giving and also for your family and your friends and your neighbors.
For corporate gifting, we have a team that's ready to take your list and ship it right from our store.
You know what I love is Dee and I go into Western Nut and the mothership, which is right there on 4th and 3rd West, and we just let you guys take care of it all. We select the gift and you guys ship them off, especially to Dee's family in Missouri.
Western Nut's been doing this since 1966, and we've got it down. All the things that you need to cover everybody on your list.
A good place to start is by going online at westernnut.com. That's westernut.com.
Traffic and weather together is brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Aubrey Wuthridge.
Well, if you're getting out and about today, trying to get some shopping done maybe on this Black Friday, things are looking pretty good if you're on I-15. No delays from Spanish Fork all the way up to Ogden area. But I am seeing a little bit of slowing if you're on 215's South Belt, if you're trying to get off onto State Street. So this would be on the East Belt. It looks like just maybe that exit ramp right there might be a little bit slow and bogged down. So you might need to give yourself a few extra minutes. Maybe people are trying to get off right there to get some shopping done. That's in Murray. And if you are coming out of Saratoga Springs on 2100 North or Pioneer Crossing, both of those are looking pretty good right now. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. I'm Aubrey Wuthridge in the KSL Traffic Center.
Should get up to a high of 53 degrees today, 44 tomorrow, and then we get a chance to see some rain and mountain snow when our storm finally moves in on Sunday. Right now, 39 degrees, mostly cloudy skies in downtown Salt Lake City. I'm Adam Small from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
You're listening to a previously recorded program on KSL News Radio. Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
You know, we often look at crash test dummies, and I guess they've historically been male. They've historically more resembled a male. Not that I guess some of us didn't really appreciate that it made a difference, but crash test dummies are those mannequins that they put in cars and they've got little things all over them so you can sort of monitor what happens in a collision, what happens to the human body. They're designed to represent and have joints and things like that, like a human body, so that you can see what happens in the course of an accident. And the Department of Transportation has now endorsed a crash test dummy that more closely resembles a woman after decades of use of the solely male-based dummy. And it isn't just a matter of representation. It's to make sure that women are being properly considered in safety tests, especially considering, and I didn't appreciate this, Ollie, women are 73% more likely to be injured in a head-on crash, and they are 17% more likely to be killed in a car crash than men.
Yeah, I knew those numbers.
No, I did not. I just assumed that we used male as crash test dummies because male are usually worse drivers. So you kind of have a better description of who's causing these accidents.
I mean, we have to have a conversation about invisible bias, because I think a lot of this comes from that invisible bias. Well, we just have a crash test dummy. What do you mean? We can put a wig on her and then she's a female, right? Or we can add a chest area and then she's a female, but they didn't take into account the smaller size of an average female driver. They didn't take into account, for example, where the seatbelt goes when you do have a chest. They didn't take into account what happens when you're pregnant and where the seatbelt goes, right? And it's those types of things that have just been, I think, out there for so long. And now, yes, there is a dummy, a crash test dummy that can be designed. It's not there yet, though.
And it's surprising because we think of crash test dummies as being around for decades.
Yeah.
Why no one has ever thought about this before? Because there are significant anatomical differences that should be taken into account, especially when the purpose of the crash test dummy is to measure your body's reaction
and
to something like this.
And able to survive a crash.
And so
what do?
You would, of course, want to have different body types.
Look,
part of the equation.
Consumer Reports, and I've used them to purchase things, but Consumer Reports has traced calls back to female crash test dummies to 1980. 1980, right? That's how long organizations have been saying, look, we need to have something different that looks at women, smaller. They did add a smaller female dummy to test, but it was just literally a scaled down version of the male dummy with a chest attached. That's it. That's not the same.
So, and what they've agreed on is that they haven't even set them up yet. They don't have female crash test dummies. They just said it's a good idea. We should have crash test dummies that more closely resemble a woman. Okay, great idea.
So yeah, so hopefully we'll get there. But look, there are some differences besides that they're just a percentage smaller than the average male. A female pelvis is different than a male pelvis. It's more rounded. It doesn't hold the seatbelt in the same way. There's anatomical differences in the neck. There's significant differences in the lower leg, which is really interesting. They're correlated with a much higher rate of leg injuries in women. And this is European officials are saying, look, we plan on testing it within a few years. And in the U.S., it's like, yeah, okay, you can move forward with this.
Yeah. It's also interesting because we have used crash test dummies to understand different body types in that we have children
for babies,
depicted,
the car seats,
and babies for car seats. So it's not like somebody hadn't thought about different body styles and types, but we hadn't thought about the most obvious one that it exists with half the country, male and female.
I have been writing about invisible bias for at least 8 years. So invisible bias is that the male is the default, right? And there are so many different things that we can point to. This is one. There are things like in Sweden, snow plowing patterns had to do with gender. And it's really interesting because the people who originally designed the snow plowing patterns would have said we did not, like, gender did not influence our decision one way or the other. But what they did is say we're going to plow the major streets first and then the surface streets and then the side streets. But if you look at the data, once they finally did, they found that women had different driving patterns than men, and they were also more likely to walk. This is an article I wrote in 2019, by the way. They were more likely to walk down the side streets because they were taking their kids from their home to the school or the daycare or the preschool, and they weren't doing the major thoroughfares to get to work like the men were, right? So then you have moms struggling with strollers. You've got elderly family members who can't get in and out of the house really, and that women were more than 3 times as likely to be injured walking in icy conditions than there were injuries actually on the roads. So it's just, that's one instance. But I'll talk to you too about medical research. The male is considered to be
the default,
the norm, the default, right? So even we know, looking at heart attack medications or heart attack treatment, female heart attacks look very different than male heart attacks. Did you know that?
I didn't.
They do. They're different. The symptoms are different. The way it's treated is different. Women a lot of times will have more of a lead up to a heart attack, some precursor symptoms in the week or 2 weeks leading up to a heart attack than the men do. And it's just one of the things where you just say, look, how can we test all these medications on men and then assume that they're going to be exactly the same in women? They're not.
And it's something I hadn't even thought of before, but it's something as simple as snowplow patterns. A bad snowstorm. Yeah. Let's focus on getting our working people back to work.
Yeah.
Getting the major roads done, and of course getting the roads to the ski resorts plowed. But having a single parent get their kid to school.
Right.
The most obvious safety consideration I think you'd have is.
Right.
Put at the end of the line.
Yeah.
Let's get the major streets going, and then we'll come to your neighborhood and make sure that you can get your kid to school, so you don't have to walk through snow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You're right. It is an invisible bias. It's
even things like this. What is the standard office temperature set at?
69, 70.
It's a formula developed in the 1960s based on the metabolic resting rate of the average man.
Yeah.
Right. It actually results in offices that are too cold for female workers, actually. Cupboard shelves that are too high, tools that are too big to fit in female hands, right? But I mentioned the heart attack one. Have you ever heard the advice, take low-dose aspirin, that could reduce your heart disease?
Sure.
Okay.
Baby aspirin.
That was based on a study of 22,000 men and 0 women. 0 women. Okay, so
why are we having this conversation in 2025? I mean,
yeah, that's part of it, right?
Seem so obvious.
That is part of it, and it's one of the things I think people just say, look, well, we're not biased because we don't see gender, right? We don't see color, whatever. I think one of the things that this shows is that there are differences that do need to be taken into account, including in the crash test dummies.
Right, and I guess people have long considered that the crash test dummy was neither male nor female. But if you consider how...
But it was based on a male body.
Based on a male body, yes, absolutely. And so, yeah, we need to balance these things out, and for safety reasons as well. If you're looking at just the numbers themselves, where more women are hurt or killed in accidents, maybe it's because we're not taking into account body types and body styles,
and how the seatbelts
when we design seatbelts or airbags or just bumper safety or something like that.
There's even, I mean, I haven't seen this in an article, but like where the seatbelt rests as it comes across your neck, right? So if you're a shorter woman, I have a daughter who's only 4'11". She does not like to wear the shoulder belt because it cuts into her neck. Like it really, like it could hurt her, I think, if she were in a crash, that could cause some significant damage to her neck.
Right.
I guess that's maybe what they're saying when the neck anatomy is kind of different.
Right.
Anyway, come on. Thanks for joining the 21st century.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Make game day yours with the Utah Mammoth app. Get your tickets, order food and drinks without leaving your seat, track live stats, and stream every game with Mammoth Plus, all in one place. It's the ultimate game day essential, designed for Mammoth fans. Stay connected to your hometown team and never miss a moment. Download the Utah Mammoth app today on iPhone and Android. Turn on push notifications and make every day game day. Tusks up.
The Movie Show broadcasting live from the busiest place in the Salt Lake Valley, no question, on Black Friday. NPS in Salt Lake City. Julie, you had lines. You guys always have lines when you open, because every day is kind of like Black Friday at NPS, but on actual Black Friday, oh my goodness, there's the reason there was nobody out on the roads. They were all in your parking lot.
I know, and there's a lineup. There was a lineup in Layton store, and there was a lineup in Orem store. So, and across the street, Industrial went all the way down the block.
We had to move our regular broadcast location because we were in the way of all the shoppers. So what an amazing time to be here at NPS, where you guys on a regular day mark everything 30 to 70% off. And then on Black Friday, you just go even more crazy. Tell us about what some of the things that people can get today when they come into any of the NPS stores.
You go ahead.
Well, something amazing that we're doing. Julie, tell them about this scratch tickets.
I got to tell you about the scratch tickets.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that there's too many people in any place around that does this, but we have scratch tickets. They're for every $100 you spend. With this, you get a scratch ticket up to $500. Up to 5 in a day.
Okay, so if you spend $500, you can get 5 scratch tickets.
Yeah.
But when you scratch them off, what happens?
You get 10. You get everybody wins. It's either $10, $15, $20, $25, $50, or $100.
So you could actually get the $100 that you spent completely covered.
Yes.
Many people do.
Many people do. So it's been great, and then you just have to it's for this weekend only. Then you can redeem it on December 2nd.
You can't redeem it today in store, but then you come back and you get it all. And okay, now here's one of the fun things about NPS for people who haven't come here before. It's hard to get enough stuff to get to $100 because you have such great deals. You're like, I easily have $100. Oh, it's only $60.
Hey, but let me tell you, today and tomorrow we have donut kebabs here. So if you spend $50, so if you don't get up to the 100, but if you get $50, for every $50 you spend, you get a basket of free donuts.
Unbelievable.
So if you spend $200, you get 4 scratch tickets, which each one of them could be $100.
That's right.
And then you get the donuts.
Unbelievable. Yeah. You guys take such good care of people here. NPS, they've got 3 locations. Come see us if you can get in. That's 1600 South Empire Road, or you can go to 475 North State in Orem and 1150 North Main in Layton.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section and after Dad's back injury. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Trouble with opioids can start at home with unused medicines such as pills, patches, and syrups. You can remove the risk and protect your family. Find out how at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
All in together now, we can make it better, can we do it? We won't it up. Cause we know how to jump.
Moving and eating better every day can help make you and your kids healthier. Search We Can online to find out more. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
You're listening to a previously recorded program on KSL News Radio. The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Let's break away from redistricting and talk about the Olympics, because yesterday, Holly, marked 3,000 days before the Utah Winter Games, which are scheduled to begin in 2034. A lot has happened in terms of preparation for those games, including the name of the games. It's a little bit of a surprise to some people, I think.
It was. It is not the Salt Lake City Games. It is the Utah Games. Utah.
And you know, I think about that. Let me just sort of digress a little bit. A lot of big cities, like you have the New York Yankees or the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Right.
But the Jazz are the Utah Jazz. They're not the Salt Lake Jazz.
But some people argue they should be the Salt Lake Jazz. Just saying.
Maybe so. And the Mammoth, the Utah Mammoth.
Right.
And it's in part because Salt Lake is big, but it's not New York. It's not Chicago. It's not the type of city that alone can carry the weight of some of these national sports events like the Olympics.
Okay, but
I
to
just
be
think
fair,
making it more statewide makes more sense.
To be fair, the Paris Olympics were the Paris Olympics, right? It's a city. It wasn't the France Olympics or whatever their counties are. And not all of their events were there. In fact, with the Summer Games, the surfing competitions were in Tahiti. So not even in the same hemisphere.
Right. And I remember the Salt Lake Games in 2002, the Salt Lake Winter Games. I mean, I attended events in Park City.
Right, exactly.
I attended events at Snow Basin, which is near Ogden.
Right.
And there were some at Soldier Hollow, which was in Wasatch County. I mean, we were in, I've just named 3 different counties other than Salt Lake where events were held.
Yeah.
Why not call it the Utah Games? I mean, I don't know that it makes a difference.
I think that's the argument behind it, right? And the other thing that happened was they released a new logo, and some people love it. A lot of people don't love it. And we do have it up on KSL News Radio's Facebook post, and we have people laughing at it. And we have this comment: did the same people do this that did the IH for Intermountains new logo, right? I mean, we would love to hear from you. What do you think about the new logo? It's 57500, and was changing the name to Utah 2034 the right move? You can either comment on the Facebook post that I'm looking at right now, or you can text us at 57500.
I had to say, when I saw the logo, it took me a minute to read it. It took me a minute to tell what it said. Right. It says Utah something, and the second word I couldn't figure out what it was saying.
It's 2034, and it's really modern art-ish. It's supposed to represent, I think, different landscapes in Utah, although you'd kind of have to squint to be able to tell it, in my opinion. So I'm not a huge fan of this logo. I also understand it's not permanent. It goes until 2029, and then the official one will be revealed.
Yeah, one of our commenters said, did Utah get a good deal by using the Bud Light or the Cracker Barrel marketing team for this one? We got a discount, right?
We have a texter said it's too hard to read. It's terrible. Get a different font. Another one says it looks like tiki.
Right, and it looks like something you need to read backwards in a mirror. Maybe it says something else. It is interesting, and of course, then you've also got the mascot that'll come out in the near future. Who knows what that'll look like? I mean, it's fun. We're 10 years away, 9 years away.
You know, so I have several friends actually that said they ran even the Utah 2034. They ran it through an AI ChatGPT generator and came up with, they felt like 6 better logos in 1 minute than this logo. And there is a Facebook comment. This one's a little bit funny. Since by 2034, few Americans will remember how to read, legibility won't matter as much as design language.
and I don't even remember what the Salt Lake game logo looked like. It's probably still out there somewhere.
Well, there's rings, right? We know there's the 5 Olympic rings, and this one doesn't have the rings.
So you don't seem to be as in favor of the Utah v. Salt Lake. Because to me it made more sense
the logo.
To me. Yeah.
Yeah, the comments that I'm seeing, it's mostly been the logo. Some of them are saying go back to the Salt Lake. You never hear of them using the state's name. It's always the city. But I know, look, there's one commenter calling it Reformed Egyptian. Okay. So besides that, I saw on Facebook also, not on KSL's side, but somebody else. It's a satire site called the Silver Plates, and they said bring back Mitt Romney to fix the logo.
Yeah, where is Mitt Romney when we need him? I mean, it's fun. I think it's all very good sport and a lot of fun right now. I wonder how the Salt Lake City administration feels about this.
Well,
if
we
they
know
feel
actually
snubbed a little
they
bit.
do, and in fact, Mayor Erin Mendenhall said to the Deseret News yesterday when they were writing about this press conference and the release of it, and she literally said, "This stings," right? Because it has been Salt Lake City has borne the bulk of the preparation and those types of things, and she felt like it was kind of a little bit of a slap in the face.
And certainly, well, probably opening and closing ceremonies will be in Salt Lake.
Oh, yeah.
The ice venues will be in Salt Lake. I mean, there will be a lot going on in Salt Lake. We don't have any ski hills in Salt Lake City,
right,
but we have some in Salt Lake County.
Right.
We just don't have Olympic events at the Big and Little Cottonwood resorts, I don't think. At least we didn't last time. It's just too hard to get traffic up there. I think most of the ski venues will still be outside the Wasatch Front, except for the Snow Basin area up in Ogden, but on the Wasatch Back, the Park City area will have a lot of events.
Yeah, look, I feel for the people who were hired to do this logo because it is not well liked, actually. There are a couple people, there are a few who say that they like it, but mostly the texters and the Facebook comments are along the same lines. It's awful. It looks like junior high. It looks like it was made out of pinball flippers. It doesn't have any class. The 2002 logo, this texter said, was really cool. This one is not. One texter does say if you enlarge it enough, you can read it fine. So,
I like this one. One good thing about it is the font, the A. It almost looks like a little bit of the delicate arch. Otherwise, I think it's a fail. Oh. The A looks like the delicate arch.
So it's an interesting conversation, right, about logo, and I do wonder, like, why did they leave out the Olympic rings, and why is this not something that I think would be? I think there's some branding with the Olympics that goes along with the colors of the rings and the 5 interlocking rings, right? That's part of it. That's missing from this logo.
Yeah, and logo aside, I do think the Utah Games makes more sense just because we do so much outside of Salt Lake City. So I hope it's not a snub to Mendenhall and to the Salt Lake City people. I hope it certainly, I don't think was meant to be that way. I think it's just meant to more open the fact that the venues are all over the state.
There are some people that are like reading conspiracy theories into the logo. I don't know that I buy those, but anyway, this is like hope this isn't the final logo. And as I understand it, it's not.
Well, let's go back to 2002. Compared to the controversy we were dealing with then,
right,
to now, yeah, let's worry about whether it's the city or the state. Let's worry about whether it's some weird font.
That's why that one group said bring back Mitt Romney.
Right,
he needs to fix it.
We were dealing with federal indictments and bribery scandals and all kinds of things. We can handle this one on a much smaller level. Yeah. Oh, you're showing me the Salt Lake logos, and you're right, they were beautiful.
It kind of looked like a snowflake, multicolored snowflake.
Right, yeah.
Said Salt Lake 2002, and then had the 5 interlocking rings.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Adam Small with a look at our top stories this half hour. The BYU Cougars are one win away from their first ever trip to the Big 12 championship game. They have a chance to clinch a spot in the game at home against UCF tomorrow morning. Defensive coordinator Jay Hill says this opportunity means a lot to them.
When we set out at the beginning of this season, the goal was to win a Big 12 title, and you can't win it until you go to the game, and we have an opportunity to get that done this week. We understand what's riding on this.
The Cougars can also clinch a spot in the title game tonight if Arizona beats Arizona State, but if that doesn't happen, BYU still controls their own destiny. Kickoff tomorrow morning's at 11. Pregame starts at 8 a.m. right here on KSL News Radio. The Utah Utes are still clinging on to hope of making the Big 12 title game, but a lot needs to happen for them to get in. The Utes need Arizona State and BYU to win their games, and they need West Virginia to somehow upset Texas Tech. If all that happens and the Utes beat Kansas today, they would play BYU for the conference title. But even if that doesn't happen, the Utes are still in contention for a college football playoff spot. Right now, the Utes and Kansas. The Utes currently lead Kansas 3-0 with a little under 2 minutes to go in the first quarter in Kansas right now. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Attorney General Pam Bondi says there will be justice for the 20-year-old West Virginia National Guard member who died late yesterday after being shot in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday.
Tragic word of the death of Specialist Sarah Beckstrom means the charges against the suspect will include a count of first-degree murder. The U.S. Attorney for D.C., Janine Pirro, says investigators continue digging into the background of Rahmanullah Lakanwal to determine a motive. If they can establish he was motivated by the ideology of terrorism, Lakanwal is sure to face federal charges that could make him eligible for the death penalty.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy reporting your money at this moment. Half day for the markets, but they're doing well so far. Dow currently up 237 points. That's 0.5%. S&P 500 is up 24 points. The NASDAQ is up 89 points. And coming up, dry start to the weekend, but then a storm is going to move in. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio. It's the movie show live from NPS today, Salt Lake City location. And Igor, this is as packed as I've ever seen the store. And people are filling up their carts. And it's because if they spend a certain amount, they can get actual literal free cash back from you guys.
That is correct. Today we have the scratch tickets. So if a customer spends $100, they get a scratch ticket that could be worth $100. But everybody wins. They go from $10 to $15, $25, $50, and $100.
But you could spend $100 and get a $100 gift card, basically, from NPS to spend next week.
They start on the Tuesday the 2nd through Saturday.
Unbelievably generous by you guys. But look at the deals they've gotten started. I mean, this clothing section, we're just sitting near the clothing section, and it has just been covered with people because you guys have stuff, brand new stuff with original tags on it that's already 30 to 70% off its initial price. Today, how much more are you discounting it?
70% off.
70%. Which means they're almost paying you to take these clothes.
They're paying 30 cents on the dollar.
And then if you get the card, you did kind of pay them to take it if you look at it that way.
That is correct, yes. And if they spend $50, they can go outside and get today donut kebabs. They bake the donuts in front of you. You can see delicious flavors.
I may have already eaten a few of those, and they are quite delicious. So free donuts today if you spend $50. Every $100 spent, you get a scratch ticket that could get you up to $100 in comeback cash. Wow, this is great. And you guys have deals at each of the stores, unique deals at each store?
Yes, we have all the sales. We have them in all the stores, like clothing, you said, 70% off, bedding and linen, 50, office supplies, 50% off. And we have some specials that we're going to talk later today.
And by the way, all of those things he just said, those 50% off, is on top of the 30 to 70% off that they were marked down as of yesterday. So you will pay pennies on the dollar for brand new merchandise. You just got to come to NPS. You can come say hi to us here at Salt Lake, 1600 South Empire Road in Salt Lake City, or you can go to the Layton store at 1150 North Main or the Orem store, 475 North State Street. NPS, the nicest place to save.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Traffic and weather together is brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Aubrey Withrich.
Well, right now, if you're on I-15, that's looking good all the way from Spanish Fork up to Ogden area. It's the city streets that are starting to get a little bit busier as people get out to do their Black Friday shopping. I am seeing a little bit of slowing if you're on 215's East Belt on the south end as you're trying to get off onto State Street there in Murray, right around the Fashion Place Mall. That's looking a little bit busy around there. And then also up on 90th South and Sandy, where you are, where the Walmart is, it's looking a little bit busy there as well. Not too busy, but just give yourself a few extra minutes if you're trying to get out and about to get some shopping done. I'm Aubrey Withrich in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather warm for a late November day with a high of 53 today. Look for 44 and dry tomorrow. And we finally get a storm moving in on Sunday that could drop some valley rain and mountain snow. Right now it's 39 degrees, mostly cloudy skies in downtown Salt Lake City. I'm Adam Small from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
You're listening to a previously recorded program on KSL News Radio. An expanded Inside Sources.
I know it's still 9 years away, but the Utah Winter Games are 3,000 days away, and it's
no, it's 2,999.
Yesterday marked the 3,000th day, and so in preparation for that, there's been a new logo introduced and a new name for the games in Utah, which was a little bit surprising. Both of those have gotten a little bit of attention. We talked about those in the last segment. People have mixed feelings about them, mostly negative. Mine are both positive to both.
You like the logo?
I like the logo. Well, the more I look at it, I do. Especially, but when it's on, it's on the state, a picture of the state instead of the city. It has the whole state with the Great Salt Lake and whatnot, and I think it's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. We have Fraser Bullock on the line. He's president and executive chair of the organizing committee for the 2034 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Can you tell us? Let's talk first about the name, which is Utah 2034 instead of the name of a city, and I think that's maybe the less controversial decision.
Yes, so in 2014, the International Olympic Committee changed the regulations and went from a host city to the opportunity to also utilize a host region. And so we see that for Milan Cortina, for example. We see that for the French Alps for 2030. And in addition to that, we were able to have the region as the signatory to the contract, providing the financial guarantee. Only the state of Utah had the financial wherewithal to provide that financial guarantee, so they're officially the host. So technically, we could do it. But the other thing we wanted to do is reach out to all of Utah. These games happen in many venue communities around the Wasatch Range, but we want all of Utah to feel like these are their games. And we're looking at strategies to be able to reach out to all 29 counties and have them feel part of these games.
Yeah, and the venues themselves, Fraser, are also outside of Salt Lake City and many outside of Salt Lake County. We have I'm just thinking out loud here and talking in the last segment, at least I can think of venues that would be in Summit County and Park City, Wasatch County, Heber City area, and Weber County up Snow Basin. So I may be missing some, but these aren't just a Salt Lake City game.
No, not at all. Of course, the heart of the games is in Salt Lake City with the Olympic Village, opening and closing ceremony, hockey. But you look at Park City, it's the busiest place. We've got Utah Olympic Park, Deer Valley, Park City. We've got Provo. We've got Kearns. So it's really spread all across the Wasatch Range, and we want each one of those venue communities to feel part of it. So one of the things we got is a special permission from the International Olympic Committee with our tri-posit logo that has the rings, the Paralympic Agitos, and Utah 2034, is we can put under there Salt Lake City, Provo. And so we can have each community embrace its own logo as part of these games.
So can you back up just 1 second? You said the logo could have the 5 rings and the name of the city, but that's not the logo that was unveiled yesterday, correct?
Correct. But we have that treatment, which is going to be, you'll go to our website and you'll see that. So we have the option of doing just the word mark of Utah 2034 in the rings, or we have the option of doing the Triposit logo, rings, wordmark, and agitos of the Paralympics, along with the venue city underneath each one. These are all optional treatments.
So can you talk to us about the logo that was unveiled yesterday? I've seen a lot of commentary on the font, that it's hard to read and it seems to be confusing. What was behind picking this font specifically?
Yes, it'll become more clear over time as we continue to provide background around it. For example, you look at the A, and it's tied to Delicate Arch. You look at the T, and it's tied to a mountaintop. You look at the 3, and it's tied to Reflection Canyon in Utah. So what we're trying to do with this font is tied to the natural geography of Utah. And I think once people really see that and understand that connection, they'll say, aha, I get it.
I just said, aha, I get it. As you were doing that, Fraser, I'm looking at it and I'm following along, and you nailed it. The font caught me off guard at first, I'll be honest, because I couldn't read the second line, which obviously now says 2034. And I think it's going to grow on people as more and more people see it. And I think it's really innovative. So I appreciate what you're saying, and I think it's kind of fun the way you talked about some of the letters as well.
Absolutely, and we'll be doing more of that education. We'll be doing that on our website through videos and things like that. And I think as people really see it and get it, they'll say, yes, I really like that.
I have a question about whether this is permanent or not. I saw online that Kelsey Berg, who's I think her title is Government Affairs, maybe, for the Olympic Games, but she said that this was not permanent. Is that like what changes in 2029?
Yes, this is what's called a transitional logo, and we only have certain latitude of what we can do with it, and it's mostly the font. But after the LA Games, then the world opens up to us, and we can do all kind of creative treatments at that point in time. So that'll be a much grander phase where we'll reveal our entire brand, our look, everything associated with the games, and that'll be an exciting time.
Can you tell our listeners, Fraser, what we can expect with respect to some of the venues? I mean, we held the games here not long ago, 2002, not long ago in my lifetime, and we had an outstanding games. We had all the venues set up at the time, things that are difficult that some cities have a hard time building. Is there much to be done either to upgrade or to change or to create new venues between now and 2034?
Well, there are two answers to that. To our permanent venues, they're always in need of good maintenance and some upgrades along the way. For the most part, we're in pretty good shape. But there's another 8 years before our games, so we'll have to maintain them well and do some upgrades. But the other thing that we'll be doing is we build temporary venues, such as Metals Plaza right downtown, like we did last time. But what we're going to have right next to that is Big Air. And Big Air will be right downtown, right next to Metals Plaza. The finish area will dump right in front of the stage, and it's going to be spectacular downtown. So we will always have temporary venues that we build, including in the mountains. Like at Deer Valley, we'll be building all the stands and hospitality areas. So we build a small city at each venue, but that's temporary. The permanent venues are in great shape. The temporary ones are always part of the games, and we're going to be doing some fun, cool, exciting stuff.
Just a quick question about volunteering, because that was one of the, I think, key components for 2002, and I know there's a lot of interest. Where are we in being able to volunteer for 2034?
That's a great question. The volunteers are the magic sauce of what we do to host the games, and they were so good in 2002. We got a reputation for being the most welcoming place in the world, the happiest place in the world. So we want to reconstitute our volunteer program. Now, in reality, it's going to be about 3 years out, or 2031, when we really start gearing up. We start training people. We start developing that whole area. But if people want to volunteer now, they can go on our website and it shows volunteer opportunities. You can volunteer for the World Cups that are coming this year in places like Deer Valley or the speed skating oval. So if people want to get involved now, they can. And frankly, if people show that penchant for volunteering now, that's going to help them qualify for becoming a volunteer for the games.
Thank you, Fraser. That was Fraser Bullock, President and Executive Chair of the Organizing Committee for the 2034 Olympic and Paralympic Games, the Utah 2034 Games.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
It's the movie show broadcasting live from NPS in Salt Lake City on Black Friday. This is the place to be, as evidenced by the line down the block before they opened. And now everybody's in the store. It's almost like you still have a line outside, Igor, even though the store's open, just because it's so full and everybody's coming here to take advantage of the incredible prices that NPS has every day added to Black Friday. I mean, you're giving away stuff for pennies on the dollar.
Yes, that's
Igor.
correct.
Pennies on the dollar.
On clothing, you can get beautiful, beautiful coat, jeans, whatever you want to get for you or your family, and you're only paying 30 cents on the dollar. 70% off.
And that's 70% off of something that was already marked down 50%
or
30% or 40%. So, this is unbelievable stuff. This is what they do at NPS. And so on a day like Black Friday, it just highlights how much better they are at everybody else than doing this, because this isn't something where, like, you guys have been running prices high for a while and now you just have quote-unquote lowered them in time for Black Friday. You guys have it low all year round, and then Black Friday comes and people are like, "Now this can't be right."
Yes.
This can't. Have people come up to you and said, "Igor, this can't be right"?
Some people do. Some people question, am I going to pay only this? Yes, sir.
I love it. So tell us about some of the deals today to give people. First of all, because it's the day after Thanksgiving, we are now officially able to talk about Christmas with nobody getting mad. And you guys are ready for that, too.
Yes, yes.
Santa's coming.
Santa Claus will be here today at noon. From noon to 3, bring your children to Santa Claus. He's going to check the list, go over them. Have they
go
been
over
naughty?
It twice.
Yes, and today specials that we have in all the stores, we have selected personal size cheesecakes and cream pies for only 99 cents. Regularly they retail for $2.99. We have nutritional bars, drinks, and granola bars 25% off. And we have selected name brand breakfast and energy sandwich bites 25% off. And we have more sales.
By the way, they're not allowed to tell you the brand names, but these are all brand name things. So maybe you didn't realize that certain things are described that way. But yeah, this is amazing deals. It's food. It's decorations for Christmas. You guys are selling Christmas trees. You guys, in fact, we're surrounded by Christmas trees. There's a big giant Mickey Mouse in a Santa suit right here that you could get.
Yes.
All these things on sale at NPS at their 3 locations. They've got deals going all over the place. If you come into 1600 South Empire Road, you're going to be able to spend $50 and get a free basket of donut kebab donuts. If you spend $100 at any of the locations, you get a scratch ticket that could get you as much as $100 in bounce back cash, depending on what you scratch off. But you got to spend $100 at NPS. It's going to be easy to do, I guarantee, Igor.
Yes.
Right now, 1600 South Empire Road in Salt Lake, 475 North State in Orem, and 1150 North Main in Layton.
I'm Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. The biggest savings day for the stuff you want is Black Friday, right? Well, at Arctic Spas, it's Black Saturday, which is way better than Black Friday since we are closed on Black Friday. For one day only, we are offering an extra savings of up to $1,000 on top of up to the $5,000 in free upgrades and discounts. This is just like me writing you a check for $1,000 on Saturday. Just like other Black Friday specials, this won't happen on Monday, only on Saturday. We have spas starting out at only $7,000 to fit every budget. This winter, make it warmer with a hot tub, swim spa, all-weather pool, or a sauna. Check out Arctic Spas on Black Saturday, but not Black Friday. Closed on Friday, open on Saturday, with the extra savings for you. Pick out your perfect hot tub, swim spa, sauna, or cold tub at ArcticSpasUtah.com, or visit one of our 3 stores covering all of Utah in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George. Arctic Spa, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto, all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
You deserve a chair that works as hard as you do. X-Chair. X-Chair ergonomic seating is built to move with you. DVL technology adapts to support your lumbar. SciFloat Infinite Recline lets you lean back and relax. X-Chair gives you all-day comfort and productivity. Save up to 50% during the X-Chair holiday sale. But hurry, inventory is limited. Visit xchair.com and save up to 50% today. That's xchair.com.
Join the KSL Real Estate Show at a special time this Saturday, 7 a.m. before the BYU pregame show. The latest on Wasatch Front real estate. This Saturday morning from 7 to 8.
You're listening to a previously recorded program on KSL News Radio. Inside Sources.
You know, we often think of those that are doing construction and working and being outside as being almost immune from mental health issues and whatnot, but it's
These
not the
big,
case
tough
at all.
guys.
Right? Because probably a lot of them don't want to face it, don't want to admit it, don't want to acknowledge that there's some things going on behind.
I was really surprised to learn that it is one of the industries that is the highest in terms of suicide. So we have Associate Professor in BYU's Department of Civil and Construction Engineering, Dr. James Smith, to help us uncover why construction workers are struggling and what can be done. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Smith.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
What can you tell our listeners about the biggest mental health challenges that construction workers face?
Well, I would say to your early intro there, just that the magnitude of the concern really came out in 2021 as they looked at some fatal statistics just in the U.S. It's really strong data, and construction was the second highest occupation in suicide rate, a whopping 75% more likely than the average occupation, and really second only to mining, which you could argue is construction as well. And so we've got this huge issue that is only increasing across the board, not just in construction, but is increasing across all of the occupations. And we've seen a 33% increase since 2001 in deaths by suicide. And so it's prevalent in our industry. Honestly, the reason that I've got a team together to work on it is because we don't have really strong, good data beyond that statistic that I've just shared there. As far as why, there are some theories as to why. There are some likely conditions created in the construction industry that are likely contributing to the problem, but we don't have really strong data to back it up. So that's what my team is working on right now.
That's interesting to me. What are some of the theories behind why this field is so impacted?
Yeah, I mean, you honestly you hit one thing on the head there in your intro. This is a very macho culture kind of a field where the perception is that you can't have weaknesses, you can't have vulnerabilities, and you should be capable of handling anything and everything. And that sort of additional weight and cultural pressure within the industry, I think, contributes to people not reaching out, so not help seeking, not getting the kinds of access to the kinds of resources that they really need. And that tends to be a downward spiral, unfortunately, and we see that in those statistics, unfortunately.
It can also be just my own thoughts about the construction industry that a lot of these workers are, a little bit transient. That you go from job to job, and so it's hard to just say, "Hey, I need a mental health break," knowing that you may end up losing your job. So a lot of these people may be reluctant to seek help or to admit that they've got some issues.
Yes, definitely. And if they were to, there is a fear, there's definitely a concern that they might not be able to keep their job. And so that contributes to it. The low labor, the labor shortage that we're experiencing in the industry, which is widely published about, is a big problem with lots of our skilled trade retiring and not so many filling in those holes. So that also increases the demand and the pressure on those who are still in the industry, unfortunately, and it puts additional weight, just job pressure, even beyond maybe some, natural mental health, depression, anxiety kinds of conditions. It's exacerbating those conditions by putting that additional pressure. I mean, you just have to drive up and down I-15 to see how much construction there is, and to know that we have a labor shortage and that all that pressure's landing on these workers is kind of a recipe for disaster in this area, and we've seen it come manifest here.
Dr. Smith, we have a texter who said that they're involved in construction, and in his opinion, the workers are committing suicide because their situation is helpless. He says the work is tough. Most of my guys have chronic health issues. The pay is crap. I don't know how they afford kids. The hours are long, endless work, no money, and I've had to talk my buddy off the ledge twice this year, literally.
Oh, isn't that so sad? Those are the kinds of stories certainly that hopefully would motivate us all to figure out ways to manage that condition. I mean, I think there's an interesting condition within the construction industry where a developer or an owner is motivated to get something done quickly, right? They go through the design process, they go through all the steps that we need to create any of our built environment systems, and yet because they're pressured in time and because schedule is important and cost is important, all of that weight and all of that I guess weight is the right word for it, ultimately lands on the person who's doing the work, right? Down that chain, all the way down that chain. And to that gentleman's comment, the workers are the ones that are taking that hit, and it could feel helpless. I think that's not out of the expected realm for sure.
What kind of advice or suggestions would you have for employers who now may realize that the workforce isn't what it was 10 years ago, and keeping good employees is easier than just saying, okay, you're gone, well, let's hire somebody else? What can they be aware of, or what can they do to help keep their employees happy and healthy?
Yeah, that's a great question, Greg. I appreciate that. I think that employers are trying to do more things to support the overall total worker wellness for their employees, generally speaking, certainly at the construction management level, meaning the general contractor level. I think that the subcontractor level has a lot of room for growth there still, but that's step one, is providing resources and making it a priority within their organization to protect their workers. Again, some are making great strides in that area.
So
the second thing, sorry, go ahead.
No, please finish.
The second thing that I would really love to see more contractors do and more owners and developers recognize is that when you put a schedule together, when you say something's got to be done by this date, that part of that decision is resulting in these kinds of consequences. It's not intentional, right? Nobody's
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
Go back to an owner developer and
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio, I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. Solitude became the first major ski resort along the Wasatch Front to open this season. They did so yesterday, but most of the snow is man-made. It's been a rough start to the season for skiers. National Weather Service meteorologist Sam Weber says the snowpack here in northern Utah is only sitting at about 21% of normal.
A pretty terrible start as far as snow goes for the mountains of northern Utah.
But Weber says this dry trend could start to turn around this weekend. He says a storm coming through Sunday could drop around 4 inches of snow along the Wasatch Mountains. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Pope Leo is in Turkey today pleading for peace. ABC News foreign correspondent Britt Clennett is there.
He has had a warning saying that, if we don't act now, there is humanity at stake when it comes to these wars that are ongoing, treating each other kinder, dialogue, unity, setting aside our differences, the idea that we are all interconnected. Those are very key themes for the Pope during this trip.
This is the Pope's first foreign trip. And your money at this moment, the stock market has closed early today. We're looking at the Dow is 289 points up. The S&P is 36 points up. And coming up, storm on the way. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside.